Alright, this is going to be part 2 of the day 2 for 6.2, and I'm just going to be looking at a couple of the problems in example 4. Looking at the simplifying and rationalizing that we were doing, we're going to continue with that. So I'm going to look at example A first. We've got 1 over the cube root of negative 36x. Remember, since it's a cube root, you can have a negative under there, so it's okay. So if I rewrite this, in power form, I've got negative 36x to the 1/3 in the bottom. Okay, so what I want to look at, what do I need to multiply the top and the bottom by in order to get this to be to the first power? So that would be multiplying by negative 36x to the 2/3, because when I multiply these, 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1. So I get negative 36x to the 2/3 in the top. Alright, so that leaves me with negative 36x in the bottom. And then in the top, my cube root of negative 36x quantity squared. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and square the stuff that's inside there. So negative 36 squared is 1296. And I've got my x squared under there. So now I got to see if I can simplify the 1296 cube root. And I can. I'm going to split the 1296 into the cube root of 216 and then leave the rest under there. So 216 times 6 gives me 1296, and then I'm just going to attach the x squared to that 6 over negative 36x, and cube root of 216 is 6. So my fully simplified, almost fully simplified I should say, is this. Alright, so now if I simplify the 6 over negative 36, I get cube root of 6x squared over negative 6x. Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to do example B. So that gives me B is the cube root of the fraction 13x over 25y to the 4th. So first I'm going to write this into power form. So that's the quantity 13x to the 1/3 power, okay, over 25y to the 4th to the 1/3 power, which gives me 13 to the 1/3, x to the 1/3, over 25 to the 1/3, y to the 4/3. So what I see here is first, and I notice that y is already bigger than 1, so I'm going to rewrite this. So I leave the 13 to the 1/3, x to the 1/3 alone, the 25 to the 1/3 alone for right now. So 3 goes into 4 one time, so I can pull out 1 full y, and I have 1/3 left over. Alright, so now I don't need to do anything with this. It's going to stay in the bottom because it's already a whole number, but I need to make the 25 to the 1/3 and the 4 to the 1/3 have a power of 1. So I'm going to multiply by 25 to the 2/3 and y to the 2/3. And I'm going to do that in the top and the bottom. Okay, so if I do that, I'm going to have 13, I have the cube root of 13 to the 1st times 25 squared. And then underneath that I also have x to the 1st and y squared. Okay, and then in the bottom I have 25 y to the 1st, because that comes from this one here, and then I have another y to the 1st, so that gives me y squared in the total in the bottom. So okay, I need to simplify then the 25 squared times 13. So that's going to give me the cube root of 8125 and then my xy squared underneath there. Okay, so I need to try to simplify that 8125. I see that 8125 is divisible by 625, so I'm going to split this into the cube root of 625 times the cube root of, I'm left with 13, and then the xy squared will just tag along, over 25y squared. Alright, so the cube root of 625 is 5, and 5 over 25 is 1/5. So that's going to leave me with the cube root of 13 xy squared over 5y squared.